As I record this video, sitting in the United States, it is New Year's Eve. Some of you, and I mentor people all over the world, so in Australia, for instance, it's already 2026. So Happy New Year. When you're listening to this, I don't know, but as I'm recording it, Happy New Year Eve. So I want to talk about something that quietly kills, and sometimes not so quietly, more deals than bad numbers, lawyers, professionals, banks, etc. And that is talking about yourself too much. So how you're sabotaging your deals. So one of the things that's super important is I realize that a lot of people have scripts. They want to know what to say, and then they want to go through those scripts. I actually have a script too because I wanted to give you an example of that. But on your scripts, what you should do is not treat them as scripts. One of the things that this video is about is how you are hurting yourself by talking too much. Now, you've spent a lot of time, you're bright, you've learned how to do this, you've learned the steps, etc., etc. But that's what you've done. But you feel oftentimes when you're talking to a prospect, whether it's a board prospect, a business prospect, etc., financial, professional, that you want to talk about your background, you want to talk about your plans, you want to talk about your structure, and you want to talk about what you're building. That makes sense. But while you're talking, you're missing the most important reason that you're having these calls, and that is to learn and listen. I've said this many times before, but the people I mentor, unless they've had extensive sales training, are really poor listeners. They miss objections, they miss buying signals, and most importantly, they learn what's important to the person that they're talking to. Because once you know that, you can then craft your offer such that it marries up with what they're looking for. So, deals aren't closed by talking and browbeating somebody. The deals are closed by listening and then putting you and the seller on the same page, or a board member, same thing. What's important to them. So every discussion you have at any step along the way should answer the question, what does this person care about? If you know that, you know an awful lot about how to get that deal done. But most mentees flip that question and ask, either consciously or subconsciously, do they like me? Do they like me? And to truth be told, they don't care about you. They don't care, board members, about you. But professionals don't care about you. What they do care about is their risks, their goals, their reputation, their time, and their money, and what you can do for them. What's in it for them? That's the most important thing. I've had several discussions with sellers where they've said, well, what are you going to do for me? And I could rattle off, we can help with marketing, we could help with administration, we could help with insurance, whatever it is. But that's not what I say. That's me assuming that I know what's important to them, and I don't know what's important to them. So the way I answer that question is, when they ask, what can you do for me? I don't know if I can do anything for you. And the reason I say that is I don't know what you struggle with. I don't know what you have problems with. Maybe you have a great marketing system. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have a great insurance program and person that handles that. Maybe you don't. So tell me what you struggle with. And what I'm getting there is not me guessing and talking to them. I'm getting them to talk. And silence, some people view as a weakness. It is a tremendous tool. One of the things that Chris Voss, who is a former hostage negotiator for the FBI, talked about, which was really and is really powerful, is mirroring. And mirroring is where you use the last 2 or 3 words, maybe one word sometimes, to get someone to talk more. So, for instance, you're talking to somebody about seller finance, and they say, oh, I don't know, seller finance sounds risky. Mirroring would be risky and shut up. And they will, after that silence, they'll say, yeah, risky because I don't know why I would do that. I don't know what would happen if you didn't pay the loan payments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you stop talking and start listening, they will tell you what's important to them, how to structure the deal, whether they care more about the price or the employees or their legacy, all of those things. But if you don't end up shutting up and listening, you never hear those things. So I see this constantly in the calls that I do, the mentoring calls. And the answers to those questions don't get asked. What's important to you? They explain the parts of the business, how good their board is, how they have 200 years of experience on the board. But why do I care that you have 200 years of experience if I don't understand what that experience does for me, the person you're talking to? So, if you can hear their voice and what they're saying, you can, through tone of voice, through the words, through the body language, you can see what's connecting, what's not connecting, what they're interested in, and what they're not interested in. So it's one of the reasons that in person is better, but certainly a Zoom call is much, much better than just a email. In an email, you only have the words. And as Chris Voss again would tell you, communication is 7% the words, 38% the tone of voice, and 55% body language. If you're sending an email and that's all you're doing, whether that's explaining a structure, explaining a deal, whatever it is, you've got the 7%. You don't have the tone of voice that you can assess, and you don't have the body language. So of that 100% communication, you've got 7%. I don't want to be on that side of the equation. I want to be able to see and read that. So the most successful business acquisition acquirers that I have aren't necessarily the most charismatic, but they are the best listeners. They gather information first, they position themselves later, and they speak last. If you take nothing else from this video that I'm doing right now, take away this. Your next deal will not fail because you didn't talk enough. It will fail because you talked too much, because you didn't listen. And do that again. They'll tell you what you need to know. People trust an honest answer. Like when I say to the question, what can you do for me? I don't know. What do you struggle with? Maybe I can't do anything for you. That begins to build trust. And in many cases, you are going to be partners with these people. So I hope that helps. I hope that you begin to think that you should listen a lot more than you should talk. If you're talking in the majority of the calls, you're making a mistake. You should talk probably 30% of the time. And you should, as I had here, and I don't usually do that, but I had some notes that I wanted to be sure I covered. There's nothing wrong with you having notes for a call. In fact, there's a lot right with it. When I made sales calls, when I go ahead and have calls now on Zoom, I have, as I just did, a series of things I want to talk about, questions. I don't treat that as a script. I don't say, be quiet, I want to read you this, but I want to make sure I cover those points. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you remember the power of communication, the power of listening, and that people buy from those that give them what they want. And so to do that, you have to know what they want, hence the reason that you want to ask questions and listen. So in 2026, take a look back. If you have been sitting on the sidelines, don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Or if you've decided this isn't for you, put a stake through it and don't torture yourself anymore. I hope it's the former. I hope that you decide, I can do this. I'm going to know what to do, how to do it. We're about ready to open up group coaching again. If that has interest, just go over to brucewhipple.com. You'll see some emails on this as well. But it's a powerful, powerful lesson to know how to listen and to listen more than you talk. So best in 2026. Here's to your health, prosperity, and happiness along the way.